Thank you, President. We have a proud history in Victoria of energy, and workers across Victoria, predominantly in eastern Victoria, in Latrobe Valley, for a century, have built the generation capacity, have built the transmission lines that have powered this state. And they did so without fuss. They were well paid, they were able to support their families, that in turn supported communities, and that power drove our economy. It enabled us to power our homes, our businesses, massive manufacturing industries like the automotive industry that enabled us to export our products to the world. But in the last 50 years, scientists have been warning us about the problem with this process. When we release emissions into the atmosphere, it warms the planet up. And as that warmth is trapped in, it plays havoc with our weather systems and reduces our quality of life. So decarbonising a carbon-intensive economy is a massive undertaking. Nobody is stepping away from the fact this is a big problem, a big challenge, and a very big task. And firstly, we had to set goals of where we wanted to be with our emissions. And we were a world leader, setting our targets of reducing our emissions by 50% by 2030 and net zero by 2045. We had to invest in energy efficiency to save homeowners, to save businesses money, and then invest and supported our renewable industries so we can get the new power into the system. And while doing so, we've stood by workers who have given us our energy and our wealth in the past and investing in them to ensure that they can fill the jobs of the new industries that are coming. And so these targets, this investment in skills and training of workers, is the work of a responsible government that acknowledges a problem and puts steps in place to achieve it. Because we know that inaction is going to cost all of us dearly. For farmers, it's drought. The more drought years, the less productive their farms are, the less likely they are to be able to pass their land on to the next generation. For consumers, for every Victorian, when that food is not produced, the prices are raised and it hits all of us in the pocket. That's cost of living. And the devastation of fire and flood, leaving alone the emotional turmoil of having to leave your home and everything involved in that, the distress it causes for our community broadly. Then there's insurance premiums. People are seeing this turn up in their bills, the cost of living that is coming from climate change, something we've been aware of for decades, and something, unfortunately, that those opposite have not been willing to confront for decades. And whether it's state government trying to push back on onshore wind, on renewable energy targets, on emission reduction activity, you have been nowhere to be seen. And it was the same federally, 10 years, just rotating policy that wasn't about implementing solutions, it was about cheap politics. Last year, we had a 1.5 degree temperature increase across the world. We are ahead of the predictions of where we're going to be on average temperatures. We're ahead of ocean warming. We're ahead of ice melting. So we don't know where this is going. 18-year-olds today are likely going to be alive in the next century. I don't like talking about next century because the problems are here and the problems are every year, and we've got to implement the solutions to this problem in the next decade, because we don't have decades to use this as a political football. And I'm sorry, I do try and generally be respectful in this place, because we have to come and have a contest of ideas. But it is cowardly for those opposite to have sat on their hands for 2 decades more. As I said, we've known about this problem for 4 or 5 decades. It is cowardly to sit there in the cheap seats and take pot shots at those trying to get on with a solution. If you've got a solution, bring it to the floor and let's debate it. Talk about the investment you want to make. Don't talk out the side of your mouths. Come on, we've got tens of thousands of jobs. We've got billions of dollars of investment ready to roll in this state that Angus Taylor left sit in his top drawer when he was in federal government for years. We finally got the regulatory framework for a new industry in this country after you scrapped the automotive industry. We can provide the renewable energy, cheap, abundant energy, which we know that in Victoria we've got the cheapest wholesale rates in the entire country because we've done the investment. As I said before, 38% renewable energy in this country. We're driving down emissions. We're leading, and we're doing it from government. And there's a reason why you lot are sitting there in the opposition, because you won't take a matter that is critically important to all of us seriously, and you're taking pot shots. Thank you, Acting President.